In this video, I am going to share with you some of the financial discipline that you can bring to your life so that you can borrow more money, so that you can have kind of hacks that you can create or in your life so you can get and borrow more and more money from banks. So if you want to know, then stick around. Okay, what are those financial hacks? Banks, when you go for a loan, what they want to see, only one thing, that is, do you have the capacity to repay? Because all they are doing is that they are lending you money, but their fear is always, can this person be able to pay back so that we will not lose money? Because if you are not able to pay back, they are going to struggle. They have to, of course, they have a mortgage with the property that they are putting. However, it's a lot of hassle. They do not want that. They want to give that money to those who are actually capable of repaying. So all you have to do, bank has certain criteria and you have to just get rid of those no's so that it becomes yes. There is a saying of, if you take out all the no's, it will end up becoming yes. So the number one thing that banks is that how you are spending money. So your money spending habits need to be checked and controlled. So which is why the fundamental thing is that if you want to borrow money, you need to find out that you are not spending money on things for consumptions too much. It means, like, if you buy your personal car, if you have a credit card, if you have all these things, it must be paid up. Now credit card is something that is interesting, because if you take a credit card of $10,000 or $15,000 from a bank, and that $15,000 you are only using, let's say, $1,000 or $2,000 every single month, and you are paying them off, yet that $15,000 is being considered as you have taken as a loan. So that means it is going to halt a significant borrowing capacity, which is why sometimes it is better to just pay off the credit card and close if you are not using it. And if you have multiple credit cards, maybe just keep one, and remaining all credit cards you just switch it off, because having that kind of a discipline will make your borrowing capacity higher. The second thing that you can do is, particularly if you are a family person, husband, wife, some of them, if assuming that in 6 months time you are planning to borrow money from the bank, then spend all the spendings, you put it on wife's account or spouse account, the other person's account, and your account is very clean. In other words, it will show that the money is coming, which is in the form of salary or any kind of business income, and the expenses are way low. You put 2 or 3 or 4 smaller expenses, and of course you have to pay your mortgage or rent, whatever you have, but make your expenses as low as possible. And then, because when the bank is going to ask you, okay, show us your income and expense statement, if they see that you have consistently saving money, for the last 6 months, your borrowing capacity is going to go up, and that is actually a significant step to borrow more money. So I would suggest that if you are planning to borrow money from the bank, make sure that your expenses goes down as much as possible. The third thing that you must always do is do not take any kind of afterpay, zip pay, or even mobile phones. Sometimes people do take mobile phones as a plan, like a 24 months plan or 14 months plan or whatever. What they fail to understand is that these mobile companies, they put a credit fingerprint or footprint to your credit profile, and that can dent your borrowing capacity, because it's kind of a consumerism. So if you want to become an investor, you need to always come out of this consumerism concept. If you want to buy a mobile phone, buy outright cash. It's only $1,000 or something. Considering that you are planning to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars, spending $1,000 on mobile phone, I'm not asking you to don't buy. I'm saying is that pay cash. Use your cash money or like actual money, not on payment plan, because the moment you start taking all this payment plan, it is actually going to dent your credit file, and it is also going to limit your borrowing capacity. And this is one of the significant thing that I have done since 2014. I have always taken more and more loan from the bank, and I bought properties. However, my expenses, I always made it as less as possible. My income gone up, but the expenses gone down, in fact. And because of that, the bank was always happy to lend me money. The next thing that I would talk about is, rather than going to one bank, you should always go to a financial broker. Just ask among your friends or whoever has gone to and get a feedback from a good financial broker, and then talk to them and tell all your circumstances. They will sometimes suggest you that some of the things that you must do based on your personal circumstances, and then you follow that for a few more months. So in order to borrow money on, like, let's say on 2025 January, 2024 August, September, you need to start planning it, because by planning all these things beforehand, what you are actually telling yourself, and going to a finance broker is going to help you, because they will understand your circumstances better. They can see your bank statement, they can see your overall, what's your goal, what's your plan, and accordingly they will be able to suggest. So going to a finance broker, getting a pre-approval, so that once you have the pre-approval, then you can look for properties, then you can look, and then you know that this much money that you can do. One point I would like to say here is that often I have seen way too many people, they do not have the financial approval, they do not know how much they can borrow, but then they start looking for properties which they cannot finance. And for me, it is simply a waste of time. Let me give you an example. Let's say you can borrow up to $1 million. There is no point of looking $1.5 million properties, because those properties you cannot buy. If you cannot buy those properties, then putting time, effort and looking is just wastage of time. Whereas if you know that you can borrow up to $1 million, and if you are looking for, then your search would be pointed, you would be doing more research on those properties. So it is actually easier for you to do more research on that property that you are actually will be able to buy. Whereas if you keep on looking for something which you cannot buy, is a complete waste of time. And the last but not the least, I would say that always think about, when you are taking a loan, you always have to pay it back. There is no free money. So the bank is going to give you money, but then you have to pay in the forms of repayment, you have to pay. So always have a plan that how you can repayment. Of course, if you are buying a residential or a commercial property, then the rent that you are going to get, make sure the rent is actually almost covering all your expenses, if not everything. Residential property, it is really hard. However, there are some residential properties, based on the skills and effort that you can put in, you can get that repayment almost, particularly if it is an interest only payment, you can almost pay all the interest, because repayment is an important part. If you are not able to pay, and if you have change in circumstances, then ask yourself from where you are going to get this money every single month that you have to pay to the bank. Which is why one of the strategy that you might think of, that buying a residential property while you are having a job, and then if you want to transition from job to doing something else, or want to take out of the job, want to take yourself out of the job, then probably selling you a couple of residential property to go to the commercial property, and then from there it gives you the income so that you can live up from that income. Alright, that's all I want to cover in this video. I hope you found something helpful. If you like this video, consider subscribing my channel, turn the notification bell on so others can also find out this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.